What's good, peeps? Thanks as always for passing by the channel. Much appreciated. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. All right, so I did a video about Chris Eubank Jr. about, 4 or 5 days ago, asking what's going on with his career. We haven't seen him in the ring since that win against James DeGale. That was February. What's happening? He said he was going to have 3 fights this year. Like, what's going on? What's going on? Someone close to the camp actually reached out to me. They sent me an email a few hours after that video went up saying, Ade, don't worry, there is things in the pipeline and that he is negotiating to fight someone in the top 10 within one of the recognized bodies, so WBA, WBC, IBF, WBO. And I was like, cool. So I reached back to them saying thanks for the information. I was going to make a video about it, but I did want to hear who the opponent was before we made a video. And now we know, right? That person is John Ryder. John Ryder's had this little resurgence since he's moved to 168 pounds. Very small for 168, like Chris Eubank, to be honest. But he's had a bit of a resurgence, some good wins. I did think that he beat Rocky Fielding, which would have been a very big win. But he is, let's not forget, mandatory for Callum Smith's WBA belt. He is the interim WBA super middleweight champion. I don't know how he won that belt. I can't remember. But he definitely is interim. So he should be really in negotiations with Callum Smith, who's at a voluntary defense now, let's not forget, against Hassan Ndam. So he should be in negotiations about setting that fight. But that's not happened as yet. So now we are hearing John Ryder versus Chris Eubank Jr. I'm not too mad about this fight, if I'm honest with you. I think it's a decent scrap. I would favor Eubank Jr., but only just. I guess the reasons I'm not too mad about this is my hope for Chris Eubank Jr. has gone down slightly over the years. When he was coming through, maybe before he fought Billy Joe Saunders and maybe before the Groves fight, you know, I did think that he could conquer the world. I don't know why. It was a bit silly. Maybe the jumping over the ropes, maybe how he spoke and acted. I thought, you know what? This guy could do something. I have to be honest with you now. I watched him a few times and I think we know he's dedicated to the game, but in terms of his boxing ability, it isn't the best. It isn't the best. He's an athlete. We know that, right? He's a phenomenal athlete. But in terms of just pure boxing ability, it isn't really there, and it shouldn't be there. I mean, again, boxing ability is learned in the amateurs, and Chris Eubank Jr. didn't have an extensive amateur background, so I think he's done well to where he's got to. But the idea of me thinking Chris Eubank Jr. is going to conquer the world, that's done. So, yes, there are some big names at 160 and 168, but I don't think he'll beat them. So I think there's got to be, I don't know, a bit of realism, and I think a realism idea is John Ryder. I think that's a good fight. It's a winnable fight. Would I like to see him against, I don't know, a Danny Jacobs at 168 or Benavidez or Caleb Plant, or maybe even dropping down to 160 and fighting some of the killers there? Absolutely. Do I think he can beat any of them? Absolutely not. I'm not fooled by the James DeGale performance. That was James DeGale on the way out, right? Done, finished. Good fight, don't get me wrong, good performance, but come on, I think if James DeGale was 60% of the best James DeGale, I think he beats Chris Eubank Jr. and gives him a boxing lesson. It doesn't go out the way it went out that time. So I'm not too mad. I've seen a few people tweet things like, oh, rubbish, rubbish, rubbish. It's not a rubbish fight. It's actually a competitive fight. I think the problem with this fight is it being pay-per-view. I think that was announced as well, that this fight will probably land on ITV box office. It's not a pay-per-view fight, is it? At all, in fact. It's not even, I wouldn't even say it was a main event fight. It's more of a co-main event fight, really, I think. I think there will be the IBO super middleweight title on the line, I think. So I guess it is a world title fight per se, but it's not a pay-per-view fight. And I feel like with ITV, it's almost, I don't know, 1 step forward, 2 steps back, right? They're giving us some really good fights for free with PBC, and that stuff is good. But then obviously we just heard recently that Pacquiao versus Furman is on pay-per-view. Only £12, I guess, so it's not too bad. But this one being on pay-per-view, I think, is a problem. I mean, if they really are serious about, I don't know, pushing the boxing agenda over here in the UK, then this fight just has to be free. I mean, fucking Chris Eubank Jr. versus John Ryder has to be free. And if it is free, it might get the numbers because, again, it's a decent matchup. If people are wanting to see Chris Eubank Jr. jump up a level, we have to wait. He's not ready. It'll be good to see what he does. Obviously, he's been with Virgil for, I don't know, 3 or 4 months now. So it'd be good to see if anything has changed or improved in his boxing ability. But for me, this is the level I want to see him at until I feel like he's ready to go to the next one. And the next one is definitely world level. I would say this one is almost fringe world level. The next one is definitely world level. And I don't want to see him get exposed as I think he would now if he were to fight at world level right now. I almost want to see how he does with John Ryder. If it looks good and his boxing's good and he's boxing to a game plan, then by all means, go and chase the guys at 160, 168. But for now, I think it's a decent matchup. What I was thinking as well, and again, people chirping to help me here, if John Ryder is the interim WBA super middleweight champion, can they fight for that? If that makes any sense. I'm sure they can. And if they can, and Chris Eubank Jr. wins, does that make Chris Eubank Jr. mandatory for Callum Smith? Again, it's just questions I'm thinking. I mean, if it does, I guess it takes the fight to another level, at least in Chris Eubank Jr.'s eyes, where he knows a win will put him in a position where he's mandatory for a big fight against Callum Smith. But guys, don't be too upset. It's a decent scrap. Obviously, it's not pay-per-view. It probably isn't even a main event scrap, but just kind of take the fight for what it is. John Ryder, who again has done good things since the jump to super middleweight, fighting Chris Eubank Jr., has also done okay things since the jump as well. So it's a decent matchup between two guys that I think are fringe world level. I don't think either are. Don't get excited about the Chris Eubank Jr. hype. That doesn't make him world level. He's not. He's not there at all yet for me. This one, maybe another after, then maybe. But for now, I think it's a good matchup. Peace.